Well, another of our themed gardens this year is a climbing and trailing garden, and Steve Owens, our studio garden manager, has been hard at work building some structures for things to climb and trail over. And Steve is going to explain some of that today. And thanks, Steve.
Sure. Well, Brenda, we wanted quite a few different structures for climbing plants to climb on, and places for creeping and trailing plants to spill out of. So we're building a number of structures in this garden, and probably the biggest and main structure is this arbor here.
Now, what are some of the steps that you took to build this arbor?
Well, we designed the posts, and we wanted to go with something that was easy to put together and wasn't going to cost very much money. So we constructed these posts out of treated 2x4s, and we ripped those in half and put those together with screws and these little blocks of wood here. It didn't take very much time. It was fairly simple.
Okay, now Steve, why did you use this style of post here?
Well, there's a number of materials you can use for posts. As on our gazebo, we had the 4x4s. You could go with like a 4x6 or even something bigger.
Mm-hmm.
These 2x2s, since we ripped the 2x4, will allow some of the twining plants to actually grow around and wrap around these posts. And plus it adds a little bit of architectural interest in that you can see light through the post.
Well, it really looks good. You did find there were some tips that people should watch out for, and what are some of those?
Right, with the treated wood, you want to pick up the 2x4s that are light, because the ones that are heavy are wet still, and the treated compound, as it dries, it tends to make the wood want to curl up after you split it. And you can see with this post right here, after it was ripped, it kind of wanted to curl up on us. So the lighter wood, again, is dried out, and when it cuts, it doesn't want to curl up as bad.
So it's important to have straight ones when you're wanting to build an arbor with them.
Absolutely.
So now this is called an arbor, and I've also seen in a lot of reading structures called pergolas. And Steve, maybe you could explain to the viewers what the difference between those two are.
Okay, an arbor is a structure overhead with not a complete ceiling, with light through for plants to climb on, and it's a freestanding structure out on its own. A pergola would be something like this, only attached to a building, such as covering a patio or something like that.
So, well, that's a good thing to know. And in addition to the arbor here, we've got some other structures, and maybe you could explain a little bit about what this is going to be, what we're going to grow here.
Well, we don't actually have a name for this type of structure. This is just a rustic structure we just came up with to grow some plants on. These are just timbers. We sunk in the ground. We have timbers connecting the tops of these, and we're going to get just some native grapevine and make an archway in between each one of these, and plant the plants on them and let them just cover it up. So it doesn't really have a name. We kind of invented this one, I guess.
This is basically just something else for things to climb on then.
Right.
Now, we've taken care of a lot of the climbing things, but now this structure is for some of those trailing plants.
Absolutely. You remember the purple wave petunia that we've grown out here in the last couple of years, how it trails and spills over everything? Well, this is a perfect way to grow that plant. This structure, we call it our flower tower, or flower terrace, if you will. And we'll have a lot of the purple wave petunias and some of the super petunias, some of the other colors, and those will be planted in these different terraces, and they will spill over the edge, and hopefully they will cover up all of the wood, and it'll just be a mass of flowers.
Now, in making this structure, you basically have just built a frame and filled it with wood. And is this setting on top, or is this a taller structure that you've built in the middle of this one here?
Yes, that is. It's a taller structure. These are 4 feet long. They go all the way to the ground, and it's filled with soil, and the soil on the outside helps keep it together so it doesn't bow out as much.
Okay. Well, thank you for explaining this, and we're really anxious to get all of this planted.
We hope you've enjoyed this classic from the Oklahoma Gardening Vault. Remember, even though these tips and techniques are timeless, there's always something new to learn in the world of gardening. By subscribing to both Oklahoma Gardening and OK Gardening Classics, you'll have access to a wealth of gardening knowledge, both classic and contemporary.